Hey friends, it's me. I'm back. Welcome back, me. This is a catch-up video. I've been away from the content farm for a little bit, not for any real reason. I just peaked a bit a few weeks back, made a few good things I was really happy with, and then on the seventh day, or on the seventh 3-week cycle, the Lord rested. And so there I was. I did some other things. I don't just say these things in my little health video. Remember, I'm trying to touch grass a bit more. Tell you what, when you wake up, you leave your phone in your bedroom. I mean, you can go back and check it, or I got this watch that tells me if someone's ringing or messaging me. No one really rings or messages me that often anyway. And so I don't feel like I'm too out of the loop. And I tell you what, you pick up your phone and you do those dumb, 5 or so apps a whole lot less. And you do some proactive stuff. You get things done, or you enjoy substantial things. It's been really, really nice. So in this video, I'm going to talk about things that I've been enjoying of substance. The knives I've been carrying, maybe it's an EDC update. Well, maybe we'll call it that for the thumbnail and for the clicks, but it's just generally a what I've been doing update. So we'll start on topic though. We'll start with the knives I've been carrying. We're at the end of the review cycle for the Lion Steel Skinny here. Still a little bit bummed that I didn't accidentally. It looked all right on the thumbnail, but I chose the baby shit and adult shit green and brown combo, which, yeah, I probably wouldn't do that again, but it's a nice little knife. The Magna Cut, if you remember from ages ago when I first got the knife, the Magna Cut performs well, is good Magna Cut, not Lion Steel soft anymore. They seem to have done it right, so that's good. Other things about the knife I'll definitely have comment on, but overall, been enjoying my time with this one. Next guy on the chopping block will be the Grambo knives, the Russ EDC. Cool little knife. Fellow Aussie knife designer and maker, Ken Grambo. It sounds like Gambit, doesn't it? Very cool name. And yeah, this one is made by Best Tech, I believe. Hollow grind, Lion Steel, you could take a tip from that. Magna Cut, as is the style of the time. Very, very nice little simple EDC knife. Liner or sort of sub-frame lock, great action. Hollow pivot, I love to be able to look through the pivot. Good grind, cuts well. Overall, I love the grenade sort of finish as well. Pineapple finish, grenade finish. Very cool, very cool. Well done. Apart from that, my TRM Adam has a new pair of pants. Pants, this is more like a glittering prom dress. The TRM sort of titanium checkered scales there, like a graduation of the checkering pattern. Very, very cute. Great knife. I think I do prefer the denim micarta and the G10 ones just because I like a lighter knife, but definitely good to look at. Nice, nice, nice. And of course, what kind of video would this be without a mention of the Spyderco Stretch? Tip of the hat to the Stretch, my favorite all-around knife. Still definitely get some carriage time. Been playing with some fixed blades as well. Been playing with the Adventure Craft from Exodus Knife and Tool. You remember that from the hit song Fixed Blade Power Move, released last year to uproarious acclaim and billions of listens and streams. Not really, but I had fun with the song and making the film clip for it. Can't claim that I wrote the song. Well, I wrote the words and then I put it into a science computer and that made the everything, and then I made a funny video for it. So I ain't that talented, folks. And then we've been playing with the Scrawny Lumberjack's little fixed blade knife as well. You remember this from the 10V test. Great little knife. Little bit of 10V in your pocket, never goes astray. Interesting little sort of bird and trout style knife, perhaps. Been enjoying that one also. So pocket carries for both of them, really. So knife-wise, it's been a good, rich sort of last 3 to 4 weeks or so. I have watched some excellent films. I've been really into my horror movies. I got onto the algorithm, I guess, that was telling me to watch horror movies. You'd go on you'd Google what's good horror movies, and by the time you're watching one on your Apple TV or whatever, it sort of suggests you other ones. It kind of figures out that you're into a certain style of film. So I'm just going to go briefly through my favorite horror movies. I haven't watched all these recently, but these are definitely combination of all of the ones that I've watched and the ones I've watched more recently that have had a really big impact. So I'm going to go down the list really quickly. So number 10 to number 1. Number 10, I love Midsummer, really slow burning. I just found it fascinating. It's like a cult style movie, Wicker Man-esque. Some people find it really slow and boring, and some even say stupid, but I think Midsummer was great. I found it captivating for the entire time. I loved how all the horror was just in the broad light of day. Lovely scenery, very well acted. Movie about sort of grief and how perhaps to deal with those who let you down. Then number 9 is It Follows, one from a while ago that I've seen. I've always ranked It Follows as one of the best modern horror movies. Very, very effective premise that they could make really effectively on a shoestring budget. Great, well done, It Follows. Number 8 is Where Evil Lurks. This was a very upsetting Argentinian, I think it was Argentinian, devil possession style movie where the possession is almost like a biological agent. Very, very upsetting amounts of gore and just a sinister vibe to the whole thing. Really good atmosphere to it. Thoroughly enjoyed. We're going to talk about Frailty next. Number 7, my 7th favorite horror movie. Frailty, a performance from the legendary and now sadly lost Bill Paxton. Really puts yourself in the shoes of what it would be like to be a child of a single parent when the single parent just kind of goes crazy. Basically, Bill Paxton comes home one day and he's like, boys, I'm on a secret mission from God. We're going to kill demons. The crazy thing is they look like just normal people every day. And yeah, it's a bit worrying for the boys, and they deal with it in different ways, and it's how it all goes to shit from there. Really, really good movie. Number 6 was Mother. I loved Mother. What a great movie. It's not really a scary horror movie. It's like a stressful horror movie. The simple concept of why are all these people in my house and why won't they leave? And that's stressful, isn't it? Like, honestly, wouldn't that be stressful if you had all these people and the minute you ushered someone out, there'd be more people in there. And there's a whole thing. This movie is about a whole thing that you might get it while you're watching it, or you might read about it afterward and be like, oh, that's what it is. But fantastic movie. Really recommend Mother with the exclamation point. Next is, this is another one that goes pretty hard. The Sadness. Taiwanese zombie-ish movie. The zombies aren't really like brains. They're like just people doing the worst thing that they can think of doing to the nearest person to them and just kind of staying that way as the contaminant spreads. Very, very, very nasty, mean-spirited, bad, mean movie, but it's got a point and it's done well, and it's not for no reason. It's not like a Cannibal Holocaust where it's just like a see what we can get away with, sort of do the worst things we can think of sort of movie. I thought it was really good, and if you're after like a high impact, violent action horror movie, Sadness, one of the best ones. Next is Martyrs. Probably between this and The Sadness and maybe Where Evil Lurks, which ones go the hardest? Martyrs goes pretty damn hard. So Martyrs is like a revenge movie that then gets completely upended and becomes like a torture movie. And yeah, it's very intense, but it's got, again, a point. It's all for something. Very fascinating idea in the film. It's a Canadian movie from about 2008, so it's getting on long in the tooth a bit, but very, very good. Very upsetting though, so go warned. Next is Lake Mungo. So Lake Mungo is a movie that was made in Australia about almost 20 years ago now, and it's shot like it's an episode of Australian Story or 60 Minutes, a just interview style, documentary style movie, right? And it's about a family whose 16-year-old daughter, has drowned in like the local sort of lake the local dam where they go swimming, and they kind of like start getting haunted by her, and they start talking about the haunting a bit. And again, talk about making a lot from a little. There isn't much money in this film, but it is very affecting. It left me almost tearful. And I remember my wife got home after I'd watched it, and I could almost not explain it to her without getting all choked up. Something about this movie is deeply, deeply sad and affecting, and also very spooky, like real sort of spine-tingling, hairs on the back of your neck, spooky. So Lake Mungo, don't sleep on it. You can watch it for free on YouTube, but it has some pretty obnoxiously sized subtitles. They're probably about that big in the screen. Otherwise, you have to get it on one of those weird sort of alternative streaming services. But it's definitely worth it. I loved it. Number 2, this is a movie that scares me the most. It actually find fear. And a lot of the other movies I didn't feel scared of. In this film, I had to like do the whole, I might get up and have a drink and let the dogs in, because, we'll have a drink, we'll have a snack, we'll let the dogs in. It's not because it's about to get really scary. It's not because the music's just built up. It's just because I want to pat the dogs and have a drink. I did a bit of that during Hereditary. Hereditary is, for some reason, the scary movie that bothers me the most. It's not super heavy on jump scares, but it's heavy on like sinister, appearances, like things that can build in the scene and build in the frame. And my goodness, really, really well done. It's basically Toni Collette's film. She is a national treasure, and she drives this film, and she just gives an amazing performance. And I really recommend Hereditary. Um, you might not find it scary. Some people don't, but I really do. But it's also an amazing film in general. And number one, my favorite horror movie of all time. We're easing off the throttle a little bit, but this is one of the, there's like a triad, right? I think of perfect films, right? Terminator 2, perfect film. Aliens, perfect film. And The Thing from 1982, perfect film. They're not Oscar winning, they're not Citizen Kane, but from what they set out to do, they do it perfectly, and you wouldn't change a thing. The Thing is one of the best movies of all time, masterfully executed. Wouldn't change anything about The Thing. Perfect, fun horror movie. Thumbs up. Good body horror too. Fantastic. So that's that. What else have I been doing? Oh, and today I watched The Substance. Best movie of the year. My goodness. Like body horror, medical horror. Oh, just amazing. Such a well done movie. Demi Moore just nails the whole film. Yeah, I won't tell you anything about it. The Substance. Just go in with there's a bit of a squeamishness warning in mind. But apart from that, just watch the damn film. Watch with a group of people. It'll be fun. It'll be more fun with a group of people, especially if you don't tell one of the people in the group who you know is really squeamish that it's a bit of a gory movie. Just don't tell them, and like your movie will be watching them watch the movie at the very least. So fantastic movie. I loved it. I've also been reading this. Really been into the horror. I've been reading Uzumaki, which is a graphic novel about a town where the people in the town become obsessed with spirals, and their lives just kind of become cursed by spirals, like just literally a spiral. Really, really interesting. Very well drawn, very well done. Pretty famous. You've probably heard of that. It's kind of getting a bit of a renaissance lately in coverage because there's an Amazon series about it, which isn't very good, but the original source material is great. On my Switch, I've been playing Metal Slug Tactics, and tomorrow I'm getting the new Dragon Quest game, which is a remake of Dragon Quest 3, which is like a remake of an old Super Nintendo Dragon Quest with those cute modern graphics. So they're kind of half 3D-ish, but really nice detailed sprites, and yeah, just good times. So that should be fun. But Metal Slug Tactics, very much again an old style game. I don't know what. It's a tactics kind of isometric moving around the board. It's also roguelite, so as you fail or win the game, next time you restart it, there's a little bit more you've got in your corner to do it better next time. So I like that. Kind of tiding me over till Hades 2 shows up, which is probably my most anticipated game of the year. I've been carrying the Nightcore tip. This is my little torch. This is about as much torch as I've got the patience for carrying around. I've been carrying around this tactile turn bolt action pen as well. And that's, when you got these things going on, you don't want a big sort of cylinder torch. Well, I don't anyway. And, I'd be lying if I say that most of the days, if I'm going out to do my like end of the day roundup of all the chickens and make sure all the gates are shut and stuff, I'm just carrying a bigger torch anyway, which is like the house torch. It's like an Olight, something or other that's probably been iterated on 7 times. So there's no point doing a video. So this is my little EDC thing. Often it's on my keys. Sometimes it's not. Nightcore tip. It's good. It's pretty bright for what it is. You've got to, you scale it up and down. It's, it's fun. It's fun. It's fun. AirPods always come with me. These are the ones that are just before they became noise cancelling. My next ones will be noise cancelling. My Apple Watch is still going great. It really helps me with my workouts. These circles, closing the rings on the Apple Watch has really been what's kept me fit and motivated. It has it gamifies fitness a little bit, which for people of my generation, I think is probably a really good, motivator. Makes you feel like you're sort of getting EXP. I know, lame, right? But I think it's true. So, that's really, really helping for me. And as a watch, it's fine. You have to charge it every other day, I guess, which might suck. But that's that. Music-wise, I've been listening a lot to, there's a new album by a band called Magdalena Bay called Imaginal Disc. It's like a pop album. I like my pop music. I'm not into sort of much heavy stuff as much anymore. I like just well-made, layered pop music, and Magdalena Bay has it in spades. I've been listening a lot to Reverend Kristen Michael Hayder, who is a very interesting female artist. She is currently doing an album called Saved. Well, that's her most recent album, which is a bit of a concept album. The concept being you've just found this, you're in an abandoned church and you've just put whatever was on the record player on, and you're listening to it, and this is the record that she would sort of predict would be on that. It's a very sort of, it feels like a real moment in time, and very, very fascinating. Semi-religious themed, but and I'm not sure how serious or not she is about that, but she's a bit of an enigma. She used to perform under a name called Lingua Ignota, which was a much sort of angrier type of experience, very much venting about some problems that she's had with certain people, and that was a bit of a difficult listen. But this stuff's a little bit more of a performance art piece rather than as much of her own, perhaps grief and things in the album. Although there's probably still a bit of that anyway, but. It's not an easy listen, but if you're interested in what I'm listening to, that's definitely been it. As well as probably another one of my albums of the year is likely going to be the new Vampire Weekend album, Only God Was Above Us. The song Classical has some of the best lyrics about how, the things that are terrible, like all these terrible things that happen, in the view of history, they end up just becoming like, that classical, I guess, is the name of the song goes. Whoever wins by doing some horrible thing, you might win a war and kill half the country or whatever. And but in the long run, it's just spoken sort of with an interested tone of voice in history books. So anyway, interesting song, interesting album. There aren't really many duds on it at all, if at all. Great. That's sort of what's from this year, turning my turntable, those albums and songs there. So. Okay, that's about it, I think. Certainly, we'll be back with more films soon. I'll sort of start to reconnect with my emails and with my messages and whatnot. Perhaps, it's nice to just have some time away from it all, and it all often means the content creation as well. It's been really nice just to absorb some movies properly, and as I said, most of those movies I've watched in the last sort of 14 days. It's been great just to experience like proper content rather than just short form stuff, like rather than not even content, proper art, I guess you'd say, rather than content. Experiencing art rather than content. Yeah, that's what it's been really nice to do. So apart from that, chickens are great, dogs are great, Basil's fine, still fat. We're trying to diet him, but I'm giving that guy like a small cup of food a day, and he's still managing to turn it into a big fat lard butt. So I don't know what the go is with that. And it's even it's a expensive lightweight food. I don't know, guys. Fucking he must be eating he's probably just eating birds that get into the fireplace or something without us knowing. Who knows? Anyway, that's that. Everything else is good. Nice to be back in front of the camera, I suppose. And I'll see you all in the next film. Goodbye.